பயாலஜி என் தமிழ் கோர்வை சேனல் சார்பாக அனைவருக்கும் வணக்கம். என் பெயர் கண்ணதாசன். In this video I am going to present the concept pollination part 6, in which we are going to discuss about zoophily. In the previous video we learnt in zoophily about ornithophily and chirapterophily, but also zoophily in general. In this video we are going to learn about malacophily, entomophily, myrmecophily, and this video is going to be a very interesting video because in this video we are going to understand how the plants and insects are mutually adapting themselves to carry out the pollination. They adopt various scientific concepts to bring out the pollination. So it will be very interesting for you. This video also going to be accompanied by one question paper, and I wish you all the best to get full mark. In order to get full mark, I request all the students to stay with the video till the end to grasp all the concepts. I hope you will like this video. If you like this video, press the like button, share this video to your friends, comment on it, subscribe Biology in Tamil Korvai channel, press the bell icon to receive notification as and when we publish the videos. Now we can enter into this video. First one is malacophily. Malacophily, pollination by slugs and snails. We know commonly the snails. It belongs to the group of mollusca. What are slugs? The question arises, what are slugs? Maybe some of you may not be knowing about slugs. So that is the reason why I am giving stress here. The answer is, it is the tough-skinned terrestrial mollusk. Tough-skinned terrestrial mollusk. You see, it's in the NEET examination also they may give the picture and ask you to identify what is it, because it seems to be like a leech. It belongs to the phylum Annelida, but actually it belongs to the group or phylum Mollusca, right? So slugs and snails perform pollination. Malacophily, again one more question with respect to the point given here. Some plants of Araceae family are pollinated by snails. Water snails crawling among lemna pollinate them. This is the lemna, pollinate them. So this is a lemna plant actually. So here I gave the question on need based question, what is true about lemna? So here the picture also given. So based on this you are supposed to select the answer. So the correct answer here is second answer, B and C. It is a monocot plant. Though it is having, sometimes it may have 2 leaves or 3 leaves or 4 leaves. So based on the number of leaves you cannot come to the conclusion it is a dicot plant. That is the reason why I gave this question here. It is a monocot plant and it is also commonly known as duckweed. And usually majority of the plants belonging to this group will not branch. Unbranched stem and root it possesses. So the B and C answer is correct. And I shared already in the WhatsApp these two questions, these two slides I shared. Now I am giving the answer for you. Now malacophily, all the points together. Pollination by slugs and snails is called as malacophily. Some plants of Araceae are pollinated by snails. Water snails crawling among lemna pollinate them. So when they are crawling over the plant flowers, they collect, because they produce mucus, you know very well, mucilaginous substance. It is very sticky in nature. So the pollen grains are able to stick with the that is mucilage over the body of the slugs and snails. So when it is crawling over other flower, naturally those flowers collect the pollen grains. Okay, so this is the concept here. So malacophily can be asked in 3 more questions, students. So as usual I want you to take the book and also the notebook, take the pen and take note of the important points. So the first concept, malacophily, 3 mark question. And entomophily, what is entomophily? If it is asked, it may be asked in the 3 mark question. Pollination by insects. is called as entomophily. Pollination by ant is called as myrmecophily. So whether ant is insect or not, if you ask that question, yes, ant is belonging to the group of insects only. Okay, because it is playing a very vital role. Independent technical term is given here as myrmecophily. Insects that are well adapted to bring pollination are bees, moths, butterflies, flies, wasps, and beetles. In our book itself, it is given, the technical terms are given. Already the entire flowchart in the previous video I published. Canthrophily, in our book itself it is given canthrophily, that is the pollination by beetles. Then palinophily, pollination by moths. Psychophily, pollination by butterflies. Melitophily, pollination by bees. Myrmecophily, pollination by ants. So these are the technical words. I want you to keep it in your mind. So it may be asked in one of the match the following question. Match the following question, right? Of the insects, bees are the main flower visitors and dominant pollinators. Probably they are numerically dominant and also very dynamic in nature. They fly very frequently from the nest to the flower, flower to the nest. So that may be one of the reason why they are one of the dominant pollinators. And also insects are chief pollinating agents and majority of angiosperms are adopted for insect pollination. So this is also one of the reason. So they are adopted for the insect pollination. It is the most common type of pollination, entomophily. Insect pollination is most common type of pollination. So naturally we are going to learn about the characteristic feature of entomophilous flowers. It means how they are adapting themselves to the insect pollination, how the plants are adapting themselves to the insect pollination, how the insects are also adapted to perform pollination. Okay, so the flowers are, the first one is the flowers are generally large, or if small, if they are small, they are aggregated in dense inflorescence. Here example given, Asteraceae flower. So here aggregated flowers, you see, though the flowers are tiny because many flowers join together, so it gives a larger inflorescence appearance. Example Asteraceae. Asteraceae, it is commonly known as sunflower family. So here sunflower, that is one of the example in Asteraceae. I brought it here, sunflower, and it consists of 8 inflorescence. As you see sunflower, it seems to be a single flower, students, but it is not actually single flower, but it consists of many flowers in it, many florets in it. So it appears to be a single flower, but if you take one flower, it is a very tiny flower. So that is the point here you have to understand with respect to sunflower. And the second characteristic features, and it may be the characteristic feature of entomophilous flowers, can be asked in one 5 mark question, students. Please take note of it in your notebook. Flowers are brightly colored so that the insects can easily identify the flowers, right? Brightly colored. The adjacent part of the flowers may also be brightly colored sometimes in some plants to attract the insects. Sometimes the flowers, the florets, we call it as florets, maybe in the inflorescence. If the flowers or florets are very tiny in nature, so in order to attract the insects, the adjacent part also will be colored. Here example given as poinsettia and bougainvillea. Poinsettia and bougainvillea. The bracts become colored in this. So bracts, you know very well. So the bracts, so bracts also colored. You see, this is the flower and these are the bracts, which are attracting. Bougainvillea, you know very well. It is commonly available, commonly present in all the gardens. So this is able to attract the bract. Colored bracts are able to attract the insects. Fourth point, flowers are scented and produce nectar so that the nectar become the food for the insects. So there must be some reward. There must be some factor which should attract the insects. After attracting the insects, the flower should contribute something to the that is a pollinator, so that the pollinator also will be performing that is the act of pollination. So transferring the pollen grain from one flower to another. So the flower also will be benefited, students. Flower in which there is no secretion of nectar, so that is also possible. The pollen is either consumed as food or used in building up its hive by the honeybees. So though the flower not contributing anything for its nutrition purpose, but still the pollen grains can be used to build the beehives. That is what they are telling. Pollen and nectar or floral rewards for the visitors. So even that is bee pollen tablets are available for the human being. So naturally it is one of the nutritious structure produced by the flowers. Flowers pollinated by flies and beetles produce foul odor to attract the pollinators. Beetles are attracted by the foul odors. So the flowers which perform pollination by um, beetles, they produce the foul odor. In some flowers, juicy cells are present, juicy cells, so that the insects can pierce those cells and they can collect the juicy materials, the juicy substance as its food. So these are the uh, eight 8 points given under the characteristic feature of entomophilous flowers. So it is a very good question for 5 mark, right? Now we are going to exclusively study about pollination in salvia. Here it follows the lever mechanism. Lever mechanism. This also can be asked in one of the 5 mark question, including or not including the diagram. The flower of salvia is adapted for bee pollination. It is adapted for bee pollination. The flower is protandrous. The flower is protandrous. It is I searched for protandrous definition. Page number 15 itself it is given. Protandrous means in our book itself, the stamen mature earlier than the stigma of the flowers. Then it is called as protandrous. Example, Helianthus, Clerodendron. Helianthus and Clerodendron. Along with this, you can add Salvia. See, the question will be asked sometimes in group. Which one of the following, that is, members of the following group or protandrous in nature? Likewise, the question can be asked. So, at that time, you need Helianthus, Clerodendron, and that is Salvia also. And so likewise, I request the student to connect the same concept at various places in our book. Not only in our book, from the reference book. Okay, and the corolla is bilabiate with the two stamens. And here you see the corolla is bilabiate. It seems to be they are having only two petals, but actually they are having five petals. In general, the Salvia genus consists of five petals generally. Okay, there may be some variation in which the three petal join together and form the upper hood, and the two petal join together and form the lower platform here. Okay, so that is the reason why it is called as bilabiate with the two stamens. You see the upper stamen and the lower stamen. Okay, so here I would like to bring out the motivational tips for you, right? Connect concepts. Connect the concepts so that there are two benefits. One is you are able to answer very efficiently, and also you will not forget, right? When you learn about bilabiate, you will learn, you will think of salvia. When you learn about salvia, you will think of bilabiate. And here you see this is from the 11th standard volume 1 botany book, bilabiate. And here the corolla with two leaves. Example there they have given. You see there they did not mention, okay, salvia, ossimum, leucas, and adathoda. These are the three examples they mentioned, but they did not mention about salvia. Now you have to add salvia also here as bilabiate. Okay, so this is the benefit of that is connecting the concepts, right? This is the benefit of connecting the concepts so that you are able to remember for a longer period of time. Pollination in salvia, lever mechanism. A lever mechanism helps in pollination. Each anther has an upper fertile lobe upper fertile lobe. This is the fertile anther. You see, this is the fertile anther, and lower sterile lobe, which is separated by a long connective. This is a long connective. Because of the presence of this long connective, the flower swing freely. It means it moves freely in all direction, we should say. That is the meaning here, right? So swing freely. When a bee visits a flower, it sits on its lower lip. This serves as a platform for the insect to sit and collect the nectar. Okay. Now you see, this is one of the diagram drawn by me for you to understand this concept in a better way. Now this is the pistil, and these are the anther, and this is actually the connective connecting the lower sterile anther and upper fertile anther, and it is freely movable. Now this is the brown arrow. Insect pushes the connective. Insect pushes the connective because it has to reach this point in order to collect the nectar. So it is pushing the connective, so going inside. When it is pushing the connective, what happens? Step 2, sterile stamens are pushed backwards. You see, this is the sterile stamen, it is pushed backwards. As it is pushed backwards, naturally what happened? Step 3, sterile stamen moves down from top to down, and this is the abdomen of the insects. So the insects start collecting, that is collecting the pollen grains from the anther. So lever mechanism, this law states that during the equilibrium, the sum of total torques in one direction equal to the sum of all torques in that is anti-clockwise direction. It means one force applied in a that is clockwise direction means it is having equal amount of force which acts on the anti-clockwise direction. It means, you see here, it pushes it back, so it comes down. Very clear. So this is called as lever mechanism. So this lever mechanism is applied in the salvia. So it is exclusively adapted to that is pollination by honeybees. Okay. Next, you see here, this very clearly gives you this picture. Honeybee collects the nectar from the uh, bottom of the flower, okay, where the ovary is present. Okay, at the same time it pushes the connective. So immediately what happens? You see, the upper fertile anthers are rubbing the abdomen of the insects. Okay, so that is what you have to understand here. It enters the flower to suck the nectar by pushing its head into the corolla. During the entry of the bee into the flower, the body strikes against the sterile end of the connective. Okay, this makes the fertile part of the stamen to descend. So when it is pushing the that is lower the sterile lobe inside or backward, okay, so naturally the fertile part of the stamen descend. It means coming down and strike at the back of the bees. You see, strike at the back of the bees, right? Now the there is because it is protandry, the anthers are grown and bent downwards. Okay, but the pistil you cannot see here. Okay, so pollen get dusted on the body of the insect. Now you see here the pollen gets deposited on the back of the bee. Now by the time the there is gynoecium also ready for pollination, and you see here the stigma is descending down from the hood. It is coming down because of its growth. Style and stigma grows so that it comes down. Okay, now the same insects visit another flower where the stigma is ready to receive the pollen grains. So naturally it has already carrying the pollen grains. Now the stigma collects all those pollen grains from the insects. That is what here given. Pollen get transferred to the stigma so that it completes the act of pollination in salvia. Okay, so you see, first anther protandry, anthers downwards, stigma inside. Afterwards stigma also comes out. You see, after maybe after some time the stigma also comes down. Okay, so that is what you have to learn from this what I should say, lever mechanism with the help of honeybees and salvia. Okay, Pollination in calotropis, translator mechanism. This also can be asked in one of the 5 mark students. This mechanism is found in the members of Asclepiadaceae. Asclepiadaceae in the APG system of classification. What is APG? If you ask that question, angiosperm phylogeny group, that is the expansion. From the reference I got it, angiosperm phylogeny group, in which it belongs to the family called as Apocynaceae, right? So according to the APG, it is Apocynaceae. Which one? Calotropis. Otherwise, in the classical classification, it is coming under the Asclepiadaceae. The flowers are bisexual with 5 stamens. Here you see Calotropis. You would have seen, right? 5 stamens forming gynostegium. Now, what is gynostegium? This is the union of stigma with the androecium. This is the stigma, and these are the androecium. So, the stigma that is fused with the that is androecium. So, it is called as gynostegium. Gynostegium. So, here also you are able to connect. So, 11th standard gynostegium, right? Connotation product of stamens and stigma is called as gynostegium. Example, calotropis. What is mentioned here, they are also mentioned, you see, calotropis. But along with this, one more word also given, it is Orchidaceae. Are you clear? Orchidaceae is given. And here, based on this question, there is question can be asked. Choose the pair which consists of gynostegium. Okay, calotropis, Orchidaceae and Aristolochiae also belonging to this. And here sometimes they may put one small condition. Choose the plant which belongs to the genus. Which genus it belongs to. Likewise, the question can be asked. So, because the Calotropis is a genus, Orchidaceae is a family. So, you cannot treat both as equal category. So, based on this difference also the question can be raised. Okay. So, this is a genus and this is a family. Okay. So, this is in +2 book. Pollination in calotropis translator mechanism. Gynostegium is present. Here also gynostegium. Along with this, Orchidaceae is given. So, I want you to connect and learn. Right. So, this is for your better understanding. Okay. Pollination in calotropis, translator mechanism. 5 mark question can be asked. So naturally, many questions can be asked in the NEET examination from this. Okay, there are so many possibilities are there. The stigma is large and 5-angled. You see, 5-angled, and is receptive on the underside. They are receptive on the underside. Each stamen at its back possesses a brightly colored hood. This is a brightly colored hood. Each stamen consists of a brightly colored hood-like outgrowths enclosing the horn-shaped nectar inside. Okay, so this is actually the androecium part and this is the stigma, in which horn-shaped what is present. Okay, horn-shaped nectar is present inside. The pollen in each anther lobe, of a stamen unites. So all the pollen grains are united and form a mass, forming a pollinium. This is called as pollinium. So this is the pollinium. This is the pollinium. Pollinia are attracted to a clamp or clip-like sticky structure. That is called as corpusculum. This is the corpusculum region. The filamentous or thread-like part arising from each pollinium. So this is called as retinaculum. So the small stalk-like structure by which it is attaching, retinaculum attached with the pollinium is called as caudicle. So this may be asked to draw the diagram. That is, draw the diagram of pollinium and label the parts. Likewise, here you have to that is remember corpusculum and retinaculum. Okay. Polonium can be asked, I already told you 3 mark. The whole structure looks like inverted letter Y, you see. And this is the corpusculum, and this is the retinoculum, and this is the cortical. Okay, and this is the polonium, where all the pollen grains are forming a bag-like structure or present in the bag-like structure. So this is the inverted Y. Okay, inverted Y. When the insect visit the flower for nectar, the translator get attached to the proboscis. The translator get attached to the proboscis. You see, proboscis means it is present in the mouth part. Okay, to collect the nectar and honey. Or leg. Sometimes it may be attached with the leg also. Okay, usually the insect body consists of bristle-like structure, students, so that that itself is sticky in nature. So that it is also sticky in nature. So that the adhesive nature of both facilitate the attachment. Okay. During the visit to the next flower, the pollinia come in contact with the receptive stigma, right, carrying out the pollination. So this is what happens. This is the flower, Calotropis, right? Translator mechanism with the help of pollinia, with the help of corpusculum and retinoculum, carried by the butterfly to the next flower. Pollination in Aristolochia, trap mechanism, 5 mark question. A special mechanism to accomplish pollination called trap mechanism is found in Aristolochia. So Aristolochia 11th standard, volume 1 botany book, it is given for septicidal example. Septicidal fruits, right? Capsule splitting along the septa is called a septicidal. Example, linum and Aristolochia. There it is given. Okay, please take note of it. Okay, so the pollination in Aristolochia also can be asked in 5 mark question, students, right? Trap mechanism in Aristolochia. The flowers are axillary in position. This is the axillary in position. This is the stem and this is the leaf, petiole. So the angle between the petiole and the stem, that is the internodal part, is called as axil. So the flower arrays is called as axillary in position. Perianth, calyx and corolla is not distinguishable. So it is called as perianth. Is tubular with hood at the top. Here also the hood-like structure is present at the top. The basal region is swollen and possesses gynostegium. So the gynostegium is present here also, right? Already we learnt about the gynostegium. Here also it is present. The gynostegium has 6 anthers, students. Okay, so question can be asked, choose the group which consists of gynostegium. Already we learnt in Calotropis, Orchidaceae, in Aristolochiae also. And here the Aristolochiae is protogyny, students. It is a protogyny. Okay, whereas Salvia we learnt it is protandrous. Now you recollect it. Now here it is protogyny. The stigma mature first. Okay, example. Okay, in our book, 12th book itself, it is given, right? Scrophularia, nodosa, and Aristolochia bracteata. So, Calotropis and Aristolochia belong, that is coming under the genus category, whereas Orchidaceae family category. Okay, so the entire family consists of this type of gynostegium, right? So, that is the small difference you have to learn. The inner wall of the tubular middle part of the perianth, right, is slippery. So this is the slippery. Okay, slippery in nature. Okay, and lined with stiff hairs which are pointed downwards. The young flowers are erect. Point number 1, the young flowers are erect. They consist of curved hairs. They are bending downwards. So when the insect comes, okay, and it is slippery in nature because all of them are bending down, so it facilitates the insects to freely move inside. Okay, but they cannot come out because all of them are facing downward. Okay, all of them are facing downward, so they cannot come out very easily during the young stage. So during the young stage, it traps the flower traps the insects. So that is after anther maturity, it start collecting, all these insects start collecting the pollen grains. So during this stage, small flies enter and could not escape because they are trapped by the hairs. That is the reason why it is called as trap mechanism, students. As soon as the anthers of the flower ripe, now the flower become matured. Two events happen, students. Two events happen, you please remember. One is the hairs wither means fall down. The hand, all this hair falls down, and also the flower bends down. The flower bends down. Okay, so it is upright flower bends downward, so that it allows the insects to go out very easily, and also there is no hair at all. The flies escape with the pollen and enters another flower where it dusts pollen on the stigma, bring out the pollination. So this is the way in which pollination takes place in Aristolochia. You see, it downs, it bend downs. There is a bend downs here. Curved hairs, insects, and anthers. You see, these are the anthers, and this is the ovary. This is the ovary portion. Okay. Other mechanisms of pollination. You see, what are the different mechanisms? This can be asked in one. That is, match the following question MCQ in need-based questions. Okay. Trap mechanism, Aristolochia, we learnt, and also clip or translator mechanism in Asclepiadaceae, we learnt. In addition to that, pitfall mechanism in arum and piston mechanism in Papilionoceae. Are you clear? So these are the additional mechanism they gave in the book. Okay, so these are the four types, other mechanisms. It can be asked in either 2 mark in a board examination, in the MCQ in NEET examination. Okay. So this is the end of the video, students. So far we learned about myrmecophily, malacophily, and entomophily. And entomophily with three examples, three different type of mechanisms they are using. So this video, again I am telling you, going to be accompanied by one question paper. Wish you all the best for getting full mark. Thank you very much for watching this video.